Hello, everyone. I hope you guys have had a great week so far. To catch up for this week, this week and last week, there isn't much of a change. I've been a little bit stressed because I'm trying to get out my research paper that I have due in a couple of weeks. I'm trying to get that done and get everything settled for it so that I could just be done with it before it's due. So I've been working on that, and other than that, I've just been trying to take my kids out more to get out in the sun and stuff. It's been a little bit windy and really hot, so it's been okay so far. But to jump straight into the composer report for this week, I did decide to choose Unsuk Chin. I actually thought her name was very interesting, so that's kind of why I chose her. And also, her being born in Korea was pretty interesting too, because my husband actually just got back from deployment in Korea. So I was like, oh, that's nice. Like, let's see, what she's all about. So to start, she was born on July 14th in 1961, and she was born in Seoul. And I thought it was really great that she's still alive and still composing and getting, her music out there. So I thought that was really interesting. So she studied school in Korea, and after she finished her studies, she did get the awarded a German government scholarship. So that is when she decided to move to Europe in 1985. And during this time, she was actually doing lessons in Hamburg with Ligeti, which I thought was pretty interesting too, because that's a familiar name that we've all heard already. And he was actually a really big influence on her music and who she became to be in the future. So some of her early musical works, such as Gestellen, were like some pieces that really brought out her style and really allowed her to develop and grow in her music. So they were kind of serious, but yet they were pretty playful at the same time. So that's kind of like where she started off in her early stages. But once she, grew and started composing more, so for her later styles of music, they were more focused on being more expressive and kind of like getting out what she really wanted to say, and really getting to the larger scale of things and explaining more larger scale things, if that makes sense. And one of those pieces that was more expressive was Santika Ekatela. I think I said Ekatala. Yeah, something like that. So that was a piece that was actually very expressive for her. She also had different piano pieces that would show like the association and the stuff that she learned from Ligeti. So in those specific piano pieces that she had, you could really see basically everything that she learned from him, and kind of he was like adapted into her music. The music that she made in the 1990s did show different positive interactions that she would have with different composers. So that was pretty interesting that she wasn't just, solo all the time. She did interact with other people and kind of learn from other people as well as she was going on. Even with all the different textures and moods that came out of her music, she was still labeled as an organicist or something like that. Organicist. I think I was saying it right. I feel like I'm forcing it, but to jump on to the musical piece that I decided to choose, I did decide to choose her piano concerto. I can't talk today. This one was made in 1997, and when the piece first started, it sounded kind of like magical, like a fantasy, if that makes sense. So it had that type of sound to it. The different instruments, I couldn't like really detect what instruments were what, but the different instruments that were playing really like built up the song. It really started off like very steady, and then it just built up and just kept building up. So that was pretty interesting. In the beginning, a crescendo was being displayed just because of it. It started off very low, and then it just built up, and it just started getting louder and louder than what it originally was in the beginning. There was so many sounds that were just being played at the same time, but it still created a consonants that just sounded like everything was where it needed to be, like exactly at each moment. Even though like sometimes it did sound kind of like dismembered and all over the place, but it still fit, if that makes sense. Like, it was all over, but it flowed where it needed to be. So that was pretty nice. There was also a lot of contrast between the different sounds, because there were moments where like at one point there would be one specific sound being made, and then the next it was something totally different, and then another section would be something totally different. So there was always, you were never hearing really the same thing. It was always a new beat, a new melody, something that was just basically flipping everything that you had heard before. So I really like that. The beat also was very up and down. It was never really steady. There were some moments where the beat would be steady, but most of the time it was very up and down and just, growing and then getting low again and then growing. So it was very back and forth. But overall, I did enjoy hearing this piece. It did sound kind of familiar to the things that we've heard in previous weeks. Just because it still gave me that like eerie sound, even though it wasn't too eerie, but it gave me that eerie sound that I hear from like other pieces that we've heard as well. So that really caught my eye, and I really think that this piece kind of brought something different to the table just because of how different all her sections were. Like, I don't think that a lot of the other composers that we heard before really had sections that were like always something different. So I really like that. I felt like that was really different for her. And other than that, I really enjoyed hearing it. I'm probably going to check out some more of her stuff as well. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this week's report, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you.